Welcome once again to another episode of Face the Camera. And today we are going to talk about how you can go from totally freaked out over all this video stuff to freaking awesome every time you show up, especially when you're showing up doing live video like I'm doing right now. So welcome. I was just freaking out just a moment ago because I scheduled this video ahead of time to go out over YouTube and to go out onto Facebook and to go out onto LinkedIn and Twitter, all 4 destinations. And I'm using this tool called Restream. And for some reason, the scheduled stream didn't connect. And it wouldn't connect. And I was going, oh no. And what's happened, of course, is that I've scheduled to all these various places, and there are posts up there saying, hey, he's coming. But I'm not going to come up. I'm actually not going to those places. I'm going to this place where I am right now. So hopefully you're here and you're joining me. And if you are here, just say hello. I'd love to see your comments in the chat. I'm just going to go down here and see if I can see my comments. There they are. And so I know that everyone is undergoing a whole lot of change right now. And I just want to address that a little bit because the common approach, the everyday approach, the approach that you're hearing and feeling and seeing all the time right now is, oh my gosh, this huge change has happened and it's bad. And I want to talk about one part of all the changes that are occurring right now that actually is super positive, like is super amazingly good for all of us. What could that be? If you have an idea of what I'm talking about, go ahead and say so in the comments. So the thing that I'm talking about is that of all the things that are occurring, one thing that has occurred is that we, all of us people who are working professionally in any capacity, or all the teachers who are teaching, or all the people who are organizing meetings, all this stuff, we have all been forced, if we weren't already doing it, we've all been forced to use live video in some form or another. So like every meeting presentation that you do, every gathering, every conference, every training, even your client sessions, all of these things are being conducted using some form of live video. And usually it's done through Zoom or through Skype or some, virtual gathering tool like that. But it's also being done like this, like a broadcast to a live stream. And this change has created a lot of anxiety. A lot of people are going, oh no, I have to show up on camera. And oh no, I have to figure out all this technical stuff, And I mean, imagine if you're in the teaching world. And if you are in the teaching world, my hat's off to you. I used to be an educator. I used to teach, first of all, in a classroom. And then I took it outdoors and I ran an outdoor program for Outward Bound for many years, doing experiential training. And it's a very challenging thing in normal circumstances. But now, more than ever, it's super challenging. Like, in addition to all the things that you have to figure out with the new year coming, with your new students, you have this layer on top of, you have to figure out how to do virtual presentations that are interactive with your students. Big challenge. So normally, like, just to acknowledge that this can seem really daunting, and this can seem really intimidating. And I want to say that if any of you who are in this process right now, I feel your pain. I understand the situation. And this is what I want to talk about and address today. Because if you flip this around just for a moment and you decide to embrace this change that has landed upon us, this change that is here basically to stay, the new virtual world thing is here to stay. And it's funny, like I just started going live, and the moment that I go live, all the clouds that have been over my head all day long, they've gone. And so I'm seeing that this whole background is getting totally blown out. I'm wondering if I should do anything about that. I can run over to the camera and adjust it. Maybe the clouds will come back. I don't know. This is what happens when you shoot in natural light and you undergo changing conditions. Think of that. Okay, I'm just going to fix this for just a moment. So hang in there with me. I will be right back. There we go. All right. Hopefully that's a little better. I'm showing up just a little bit better this time. So, and I'm a little bit in silhouette, but that's okay. We can live with that. I'm sure you can see me just fine. I just wanted to make sure that the whole background isn't totally like blown out. I can get a little old watching the background. So, here's the thing. What if you recognized right now that for the first time, you could be limitless in your ability to reach and to serve all of the people that you are here to serve? Not just some of them, not just a little teeny tiny amount of them, but whatever that group is, whatever that audience size is for you, wherever they live, whoever they are, the ones who really need your service right now, the ones who are most in need of your service right now. What if you embraced the concept that now, with this change, there is no limit on your ability to reach every single person who needs your service or your skill or your talent right now in this moment? Think about that for a minute. So all these people who live on the planet, we all have different needs. We all have different problems. We all have different challenges that we're facing, one kind of thing or another. And this new group of entrepreneurs are emerging right now who basically are here to serve all of those needs and challenges and problems. And with this change, literally, we have all been forced to sit down in front of our computers and learn how to use video, learn how to get on camera, learn how to present ourselves through this medium of live video. We're all being made to do it. 4 months ago, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, you could say, well, I don't really need to do that, so I'm not going to bother to learn. But now, honestly, you don't have a choice. Like, you've already been doing it. You've had to do it. You've had to sit down and do a Zoom meeting with someone somewhere along the line. And if you haven't, you've been living under a rock and you need to get out more. So here's this thing, like this change has happened. And my main message today is that the ones of us who embrace this change are now getting to this place where we realize we're aware that we have an unlimited capability. It's unlimited capability to reach and serve all of the people who need what we have to offer, who will benefit from what we have to offer. What if you were able to show up in this way that would inspire everybody around you? What if you got to that place? What would that look like for your work, for your business, for the mission that you're on, for this thing that you're here to do? So this is the shift that I'm encouraging you to go with. This amazing, cool thing that's happening. And among the people who are doing this, the ones who are now on this path, and they're saying, yeah, I get this idea. I'm really here to serve. And now I can take advantage. I can really take advantage of this medium, of getting in front of the camera and talking to people in a meaningful way. Like, here I am, let's go. So this group of people, part of this shift is that as a group, you're going to see that they are more willing to share. They're more willing to collaborate. They completely understand this concept as this, it's limitless. Like, our capability now to reach the people who we want to reach is unlimited. It's huge, huge change. So that means that there's more than enough for all of the entrepreneurs, all of the people who are doing the work that you do, to be successful. Which means that you can collaborate more with people. And the rising tide is going to float all the boats, because your collective reach is unlimited. There's no way that any one of you could be serving everyone. You're going to, like, each person is going to resonate with a certain group of people, a certain number in that audience out there. And so the people who want to work with me, that's cool. But there are other people who want to work with other folks who do something like what I do, because that other person is offering or doing or just their own personality is not the same as mine. And so you're going to have your different preferences, and some people are going to go with this person and some people will go with that person. And that's totally as it should be. So this group of people, they're getting over, the key is that they no longer fear showing up. They no longer are fearing this, being highly visible. They're embracing the change of, oh my gosh, I now have the capability to reach and serve everyone who I am here to do that. You have the conduit to get there. And as a result of your own drive and your own mission and your own sort of, ambition for doing so, the whole thing of being anxious about it just starts to fall away. If you're here to serve other people and you're showing up, and the main purpose of showing up is to inspire the people who you serve to take action so that they can solve whatever it is they want to solve for themselves, well, what is there to be afraid of, really? And this is not to say that things won't happen. Like today, as I was going live, I had an issue. I had a bug. It took, I came on a few minutes late as a result. I managed to figure it out. But really, while I was working that problem out, what's the worst thing that could have happened? The worst that could have happened is I wouldn't have been able to go live. But other than that, really, so what? It's not that big a deal. There's no reason for me to get completely and totally bent out of shape. And right now, I started going live. And the moment I started going live, literally above me, behind me, all the clouds that were there parted. And so instead of having this nice, soft backdrop, I have now this really harsh backlight, which is less than ideal, but I think we can work it out. It's working okay. I see there's a comment here. I just want to check out and see who just showed up. Oh, look, Colleen's here. Hey, Colleen. And let's see. Can I show this? There we go. Colleen says, yes. All right. So where do we go from here? Well, the first thing I want to say is that if you're willing to embrace this change, if you're willing to start showing up for your audience in this limitless environment that we now live in, truly, The change is we went from a limited way of being able to show up to people to a unlimited way. As in, the number of people that you can reach is really, truly unlimited. So embracing that change. The place to start actually is on some small project. Like, in order to gain the skill, in order to start learning how to use the tools in a way that are effective, in a way that are engaging, in a way that shows you as the person who you would like to be seen as, the way to show you as actually the true person who you are. In order to get to that place in using this medium, a good place to start is with something small. So for instance, you could go live to your own Facebook group. Or even better, even smaller, is that you could join a group where this was going on. And you could join that group and you could just go live into that group and only to that group, where it's a relatively safe environment where people are going to see your video and they're going to give you positive encouragement and positive feedback on how that video is, how great you are, and a couple of things to think about so that you could get to one or two steps further. And in this way, you can start showing up and learning how possible it is for you to do this, how actually relatively easy it is, and how relaxed you can be in the process of doing this. And when you are in a place where you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I can do this, it's not as hard as I thought, then you can take on slightly bigger projects and you can start going out to the real world and start expanding your reach in a greater and greater way. And as you capitalize on that, you can start doing collaborations. I mean, one of the simplest ways anyone can go live is to get with another person who has an audience that's like your audience and go live together, so that the two of you are talking and you're talking about some topic that maybe is the expertise of the person who you're talking with. And you happen to want to learn from them. So you come on with them and you ask them really good questions, all the questions that you want to know or that you know your audience would like to know. And in that process, you have this really nice collaboration. You are showing up not only for you and your people, but because it's live, the person who you have as a guest can share the stream and it can be in front of all of their people. So now you're expanding your reach and you're becoming more and more unlimited. You're becoming more and more limitless with the way that you are showing up. And when you're doing it with another person, even if it's a guest, like somebody who you don't know that well, it's easier than when you're just doing it by yourself, like I'm doing right now. So this is a really great path to get on. And I want to encourage you to join me on this path. I'm actually launching a new cohort of what is actually a new video mastermind program that's starting in October. And if you're interested in joining me there or finding out what is that all about, just say mastermind or say, tell me about that program in the comments and I'll get back to you and I'll tell you all about it. And I can tell you a little bit about it in that it's going to be a limited amount of time. Basically, we're going to be meeting over 12 weeks. So between now and the end of the year. And the idea is that if you want to reach more people than you've ever reached before, if you want to grow your business or your service more than it's ever been before, if you would like to literally like double the amount of clients that you have or double the amount of revenue that you're earning between now and the end of the year, so that whatever 2020 has been for you until now, all of a sudden that's going to be turned around. And by the end of 2020, you're going to be having one of your best years ever. Imagine that. If you can imagine in the future, like, okay, starting in 2021, I am going to have limitless capability to reach the number of people who I would like to serve in the world, if that's a good goal for you, then you want to join me in this program. And I will help you get that big reach. In fact, that's the name of the program. It's Big Reach Video. And I've got a whole method that I've created to help people get there, which, number one, the reason that I like live video and the reason that I talk a lot about live video is that live video is probably the most effective, but also the most time efficient way to do any kind of social media that you want to do. And the reason is because if I'm doing a live video, the only time it takes me to produce this content is this, is when I'm talking with you guys. So here I am talking, and all it takes is this time for me to talk. And then, when I'm done, the video is up, it's there, it's done. And I can literally walk away from it. The other thing about it is that if you're doing collaborations with your lives, you can start reaching more and more people. And this is the thing, this is all part of the change. With this mindset, with this viewpoint that we are living in a limitless entrepreneurial environment where there is no limit on the people that we can reach, no limit to the number of people that we can serve, then there should be no limit on your willingness to collaborate with as many people as possible. And it doesn't matter if they're in absolutely the same lane as you and they're doing a very similar thing. You can collaborate together, you can share your audiences with one another, and you can be reaching greater and greater numbers of people through this kind of collaboration. And this is where, it just starts to take off. And the last thing I'll say about all of this is that if, when you're doing live streaming, you treat it like this professional program, this professional master program that you're presenting, this professional show that you are broadcasting, this professional call and response engagement opportunity that you have to be present for your audience on a regular basis. And every time you go live, you're giving content that your audience will appreciate, that you're giving content that people will want to tune in for, that you're giving the kind of content that actually is becoming people's favorite thing that they find online, because you're doing something for your audience that basically no one else is doing. And you're serving them in a way that is more relevant and more meaningful than anyone else is doing. This doesn't mean you have to be the best entertainer, but you can learn how to be engaging and how to bring meaningful content to your audience that they will highly value, that they will resonate with them. And if you're doing this on a regular basis, all good things come to pass. All right, so I'm just checking the time now, and I'm looking in the comments, and yeah. So I want to thank you all for joining me today, and it's just about the weekend. One more time, if you're interested in joining me in my new Limitless Reach program, where we're going to go on a journey over the next 12 weeks, starting in October, so that between now and the end of the year, you will, number one, turn this whole year around so that instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, 2020 was a complete downer, you're going to all of a sudden realize, oh my gosh, among the things that happened this year, there was this one thing that happened that was really totally awesome. And then number three, whatever you've been feeling about when you get on like a Zoom call, or when you get on a presentation that's virtual, or you get on some kind of virtual meeting or virtual conference, and you're feeling that it's daunting and you're getting freaked out over the technology, we're going to move through that. We're going to move through all that to where you'll be feeling like, I got this. This is my backyard. Can you imagine that? What would that be like? What would it be like to, be doing this and be feeling like, yeah, man, this is what I do. I'm one of the people who reaches lots of people. I'm one of the people who shows up to serve my audience in a limitless way. That's me. This is part of my identity. And of course, I have to use Zoom. And of course, I have to get in front of the camera. That's just part of the job of being able to show up in a limitless way for my limitless audience. Are you with me? All right. So next week, I'll be going live on Tuesday. So get ready for that. And Tuesday and Friday, I'm always going live. It's all part of Face the Camera. And next week, I'm doing a special interview with one of the people who's been working with me over the last few months. And she is going to talk about her experience in doing all of this stuff that I'm talking about. And it's a great story, great result. And I'm really excited to share all of that with you. So until next time, I'll see you guys.